You can start it now. We're just chatting about something else. We can start it now. So Swagatam. Today is December 23rd, Raghuvamsham class. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bhiyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parasaram Ramasya Dasrosmyaham Rame Chittaraya Sada Bhautame Bho Rama Mamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatsalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Om Nama Iti Ata Shri Maheshwar Sutrani A I Un Rulrak A Ong I Ouch Ayavarat Talan Nam Jabain Ghadadash Jabagadash Kapha Cha 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 Tav Kapai Shashasar Halliti Maheshwar Sutrani. Okay, so last class we were looking at the shloka. Actually, I want to go back a little bit for 1 minute. That this samasa which we saw last time. I was thinking about afterwards and looked in another book also. Uttataha, Uttataha, which we did the compound last time in number 58. Uttataha iva nadirayaha salim. So this we're back to shloka 58 for 1 second. Just look at the shloka again. Uttataha. Mulinasa did not give the Vigraha Vakyam for that. He says Uttataha Nadirayaha. But what we did the Vigraha Vakyam last time, Uttataha, and the way we did it last time was, Uttataha, the Tata is the bank, Uttataha means those which had crossed the river bank, which are flooding, racing past the river bank. So with the way that we did it last time was Ud plus Tata plus Nyasi. So Tatad Udgataha is what we read, Pradi Samasaha by Kugatip Pradayaha. That was fine. But that's not the only way to make this compound. See, some of these compounds can be formed in different ways. So I just want to give you a flavor of that, how, there's not one set way of doing this compound. The one that we did last time was Uttataha is Udgataha Tatat. So Tatat was a Panchami Ekavachanam. So Ud, this word gata is implied in between here. That's what is called a paradi samasaha. It's paradi when there is something, a verb has implied here, which it is not there. And then this other word is not in samadhi karanam. We were talking about last time that the word like vidhava. The vidhava also we got vigataha, dhavaha, yasyaha, sa. Is there a paradi samasaha? It is not a paradi samasaha. Because in that formation, the vigataha is qualifying only the dhavaha, only the husband, not the nari. So it is clearly anyapada pradhana. That's you have to ask this question when there is a participle implied in here, which is not there right now, it's implied by the paradi. What is paradi? Paradi is this term of, just to refresh memory, is this term of about 22 indeclinables, what's called what Panini calls paradayaha. And they are here 1458 is paradayaha. So paradayaha is the all nipatas. All nipatas are avyayas. So paradi is a set of nipatas, and they have a special property that they can go before a verb, and then they get called upasargaha kriyayoge gatischa. So only these they are. What is the special property of paradayaha? Why list them separately? Because of the fact that they can get the upasarga sanya when they are kriya yoge. So other things can also be kriya yoge, like below, but they will not get a sanya upasarga. Upasarga sanya is only for the paradaya when they are kriya yoge. Okay, and the paradayas are well known to us. The paradis are well known to us. If you want to quickly look at this one. So 1458 paradaya. Very simple sutram. As I always say to you, how much of this language do you know? Generally, it is measured by how many sutras that you know that you can understand and make them part of your, skill set, so to speak. So, paradayaha, they are listed over here. It is para, apa, sam, anu, ava, nis, nir, dus, dur, vi, ang, ni, adhi, api, ati, su, ut, abhi, prati, pari, and upa. So, right now we got udgataha. Now, even this Kashika also is given him para, apa, sam, anu, ava, nis, nir, Dus, dur, vi, ang, ni, adi, api, ati, su, ut, abhi, prati, pari, up. So this is the pradeha. So there's some typos in this online Kashika. I hope someday we can edit them. But there it is, at least we have it, that is good. But the paper edition, which is published by Ramlal Kapoor Trust, is much better. That's a must-have book. The Kashika, as well as the Dhatu Vritti, published by Ramlal Kapoor Trust, edited by Vijayapal Vidyavaridhi, is the must-have book. Even if you don't plan to read it, please buy it and keep it. Somebody might thank you someday for that. So in that you'll find a cleaner version. It says para, para, apa, tam, anu, ava, nis, nir, dus, dur, vi, ang, ni, adhi, api, ati, su, ut, abhi, prati, pari, and upa. These are pradihas. Well worth keeping the list in your mind. The pradis come in a few places. So if you have a nice big Vyakaranam wall, Vyakaranam Bhitti, you can, put them on there. We can refer to them all the time, pradaya. Okay, so pradaya. But then it also is, pradis can also go directly into a compound, which is called kugatip pradaya. It's a special kind of a Purusha compound, kugatip pradaya. Kugatip pradaya. So when does that happen? When they go into compound directly, is that when they imply a verb in between. Very simply, without going into too many details, when a verb is implied in between, like we gave the example of pracharyaha. Pragataha acharyaha pracharyaha. Senior professor, senior teacher. Now, why is it not a Bahuvri compound? Because Bahuvri requires Anya Pada Pradhanatvam. Because the sutram for Bahuvri is 2224, which says Anekam Anya Padarthe. When you say Prakataha Acharya, the Prakataha is calling to the Acharya itself, who's in the compound, who has Pradhanatvam. Pradhanatvam means he is the main term or person or item indicated by the whole compound. So Pracharya means that Prakataha is qualifying Acharya only, not some other term outside. It will not be Bahuvri. It will not be Bahuvri. So, but here what we have in Raghuvamsham right now is we have this term Uttataha. You made Udgata. So Ud, I guess you could have made this Ut itself. So because if we don't need to make it Ud. We can keep it Ut. We don't need Kharicha. So that will be fine. We can make it Ut. Ut Tata plus Myasi. That Udgataha, Tata Udgataha is qualifying the Nadirayaha. It's the Anyapada Pradhanatvam. So, I'm sorry. No, yes, Udgata is qualifying Nadirayaha. It's not Anyapada Pradhanatvam because that Nadirayaha is implied by this whole compound right here. This compound is referring to Nadirayaha. That Udgataha will qualify Nadirayaha directly. So, it is not going to be Bahuvri. One more time. The Udgataha is qualifying Nadirayaha, which is what is referred to by this compound itself. So Bahuvri means that the term referred to by the compound should not be in the compound. The compound refers to something which is not in the compound. Then you have to make it Bahuvri. So anyway, this is how we did it last time. We did Udgataha Tatat. Udgataha Tatat. A Panchami vibhakti there. So in this sutram which we just saw, which was the Kugatip Pradeha, there are some Vartikani over there. And the Vartikani, one of them is Niradayaha Krantyadyarthe Panchamyaha. So Nir, etc. can be used in the Krantyadyarthe, means that he is stepped out or gone out, Panchamyaha. So Nishkrantaha Kaushamvyaha. So one who has exited out of the Kaushamvi will become Nishkaushamvihi. Kaushamvi is, I guess, an old city or something. So Nishkrantaha Kaushamvyaha Nishkaushamvihi. So that's what we did last time. But there are a couple of other ways of also doing this compound. So I just wanted to discuss those with you. Because, it doesn't have to be done in this way itself. So another way of doing this compound will be, we can make it like this. Uddhataha tataha yaihi te uttataha. So now we imply a different verb in there and make it a Bahuvri. So let's look at that one today. Before we go to today's shlokaha. So another way is making it is that Uddhataha. So Uddhataha. Uddhata means which is striking, which hit. Uddhataha. Then Tataha. Tataha yaihi. Yaihi te Nadirayaha. Finally, of course, it's by Nadirayaha. Now this will be a Bahuvri compound. So this will be a Bahuvrihi compound. Because now this Uddhataha is qualifying the Tataha only, not the Nadirayaha. So this Uddha, this is like a Vidhava compound. So by making the verb as Uddhata as opposed to Udgata, now this Uddhata is qualifying Tataha itself. So nothing in this compound is qualifying Nadirayaha directly. Therefore, we need a Bahuvrihi compound over here. So same compound, by supplying a different verb in between, can be made into Bahuvrihi compound. So Bahuvrihi compound, Bahuvrihi. So reason this became Bahuvrihi was because of the fact that the and this sutram of course is 2224 Anekamanya Padarthe. It has a Vartikam on that. 2224 has a Vartikam on that. 2224 Vartikam. So the same compound Uttataha, by supplying a different verb in between, we made it a Bahuvrihi compound, because now Uddhataha will qualify Tataha only. So this is Samadhikaranam. This Uddhata is qualifying Tataha. So they are the river currents by which the banks have been struck. So they are the south, so the banks have been struck. So the banks have been struck. So we cannot get this, nothing, this has to be Anyapada Pradhana Samasaha. So Uddhata is qualifying Tataha. So the second way of doing it. Uddhata, here we supply the Dhatu Han. Uddhan, Uddhata. Uddhata means struck. So it's the same compound which we did by Pradi Samasa last time. We can make it Bahuvrihi by supplying a different verb in between. Another way we can do it by making into a Dvitiya. It says Utkrantaha Tatam itiva Uttataha. So you can say Tatam Atikrantaha. So now we can go to, so in making instead of Panchami, we can use Dvitiya Vibhakti. So it's the third way of making the same compound. Just to give you a flavor of how these compounds can be formed. Say Panchami, Dvitiya if you take Atyadayaha, Krantadhyarthe Dvitiya. The same Sutram 2218 which we saw, which we used last time by making Udgataha Tatat. We can now say it that Utkrantaha Tatam. Utkrantaha Tatam. So this again the meaning is the same, but with a Dvitiya Vibhakti this can be used, Ati etc. can be used. So even though Ut is not specially mentioned as Vartikam, we can make it another way. So meaning is the same. So Utkrantaha Tatam itiva Uttataha. Tiram Atikrantaha Ityataha. Another way, so we can, with this third way of doing it, so we leave it to that. So it says Utkrantaha Tatam. So Utkrantaha. So in this case, what we'll do is we get Ut plus use the Dhatu Kram, and then make this Tata plus So this will, again we use 2218 Vartikam, but in this case we are using Dvitiya. So there are different ways. It doesn't have to be one single way. The meaning in all three cases is the same. First compound which we did last time, the meaning will be that these are the river currents that have gone beyond the shoreline. So that'll be number one. So the other one, when we take it, it will be the Bahuvrihi compound. Those are those river currents by which the shore or the banks have been struck. Bahuvrihi compounds. In first case, we use the Dhatu Gam, Udgataha, exited out of. Here we use Dhatu Han, Uddhataha. This case qualifying Tataha. And here we use again the Dhatu Kram. We also make it a Paradi compound with the Dvitiya Vibhakti now. Utkrantaha equals Atikrantaha. Tatam Chi Uttataha. So different ways. So one was Bahuvrihi and two was what we call the Paradi compound. What is Paradi? When this Pradeha is, there is a go with a participle which is mostly it's a Krut Pratyaya, Krudanta form, which is implied, which is not there right now. It's not a Bahuvrihi because of the fact that it's qualifying the main term implied by the compound. Bahuvrihi means that like Vidhava, that will not qualify directly the term implied by the compound. So it depends on whether Anyapada Pradhanatvam or not. That's the final test of Bahuvrihi. Anyapada Pradhanatvam. This one is not. Utkrantaha is directly qualifying Nadirayaha. But this is Bahuvrihi. Uddhata is qualifying Tataha only, not Nadirayaha. That's a critical difference here. Uddhata is qualifying Tataha only, not Nadirayaha, while Utkranta is qualifying Nadirayaha, which is the main Vichatpadhanatvam. So this is a Pradi Samasa. Pradi is a subset of Tatpurushas. Pradi Samasa is a Kugati Pradi had 2 to 18. Remember that Tatpurushas end in 2 to 22. So Pradi Samasa is a subset of the Tatpurusha compound. Of course, Bahuri is a different category. Okay, let's start with today's shloka. I was reading that last time. I just thought of mentioning in the class how different varieties we can form this compound in different ways. So I'll talk about that. Okay, today's shloka, which we also reviewed last time, we started that. We get general meaning. So this is the Ekona Shashti Tamash shloka. Ekona Shashti Tamaha means 1 less than 60, 59. So Lakshate Smo Tadanantaram Ravirbadha Bhima Parivesh Mandalaha Vainateya Shamitasya Bhogino Bhogaveshchita Ivachuto Manihi. First thing, read loudly, clearly, one letter at a time. Lakshate Sma Tadanantaram Ravirbadha Bhima Parivesh Mandalaha Vainateya Shamitasya Bhogino Bhogaveshchita Ivachuto Manihi. Okay. Lakshyate iti. This is all. This is the evil dushakram, which is the implying the Parashurama Agamana Suchakam, dushakram. This is Parashurama Agamana Suchakam, which is hinting at, suggesting the arrival of Parashurama. So Lakshate iti. Lakshate iti, as I said, this only the commentator is saying that which part am I commenting on now. This puts you, because the Mula Patha may not be there when you have the Tika. So Tikakar is telling you that now I'm at the section of Lakshate iti. Tadanantaram means Pratipa Pavananantaram. Very simple words. Please read these words. You increase your confidence. Pratipa Pavana Anantaram. Pratipa Pavananantaram means Anantaram means after. Anantaram means immediately after. Antara is a gap. Anantaram is without a gap, immediately afterwards. Pratipa Pavana means the counter winds, means winds which are not, see, Anukul and Pratipa, we saw what Pratipa last time, right? Pratipa is counter current, which are not unfavorable winds. Pratipa Pavana Pavananantaram. We saw this in the last class, in the last shloka, how these winds were coming. So Tadanantaram means, so what is the commentator saying? What has he replaced? He took the word Tat and replaced that with Pratipa Pavana. Tadanantaram means after that. After what? After what is the question is coming, right? So Tasya Pratipa Pavanasya Anantaram Paschat. Tasya Paschat. So Anantaram means Paschat. So Tasya Pratipa Pavanasya Anantaram Paschat. So all he has done for you, he's telling you that Tat equals, now of course Tat is in a compound here, so we don't know whether Tat is a Pullinga or Napumsalinga or Stilinga, whether it is, it has what vibhakti it has. Once you go in a compound, as I mentioned to you by 2471, so these two steps are very common for compound. You heard them many times. Repeat one more time. Is that by 1246 any samasa gets the sanya of pratipadikam. Krit tadita samasascha. So samasanam pratipadika sanya bhavati. Any samasa pratipadika sanya. And the moment that happens, comes in 2471, which is says supo dhatu pratipadikayoho. Supo dhatu pratipadikayoho. Anything that the way to learn this language, to learn grammar, is always question. Always ask by which sutram, by which vartikam. Or maybe there is no sutram vartikam. Maybe you have to extend. But don't accept anything unless you are convinced that you can prove that it's correct from the Ashtadhyayi. Of course, sometime, many times you will not be able to. Then okay, I cannot do it at this time. But I don't understand how this came. Leave it at that. Don't say it must be correct. Who cares? It might be like that. That is the way that you will learn Vyakaranam. Of course, always the disclaimer in this class is that whatever I say is not pramanam until you confirm from Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kashika or Mahabhashyam. It's only pending confirmation. All I can give you is I can try to make it as easy for you as I can, knowing what I know. But the amount of thought that goes into Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kashika or Mahabhashyam is enormous. Enormous. We are only a small fraction of that. So read those books. If you can read Siddhanta Kaumudi, Kashika on your own, you're all set. So hopefully we're giving you enough of a pravesha marga, entrance into those texts. That's what we're trying to do. So supo dhatu pradipatikayoho, immediately will come and remove the sup inside the dhatu or a pratipadikam. And because samasa got pratipadika sanya by krutadita samasascha 1 to 46, therefore the inside the samasa, the general rule the sup will be lost. So here we don't know tat was whether it was referring to a, because tat could be a, once the sup is lost, we don't know whether it was prathama, dvitiya, it was bahuvachanam, ekavachanam, pullinge, pullinge, na jnayate. Samasantargata yadi padam asti chet. Pullingam asti va pulingam na jnayate. You cannot tell. So because of the supluk. So he's clarifying for you that tat equals Patipa Pavana. So just at least understand what the commentator is trying to tell you. So he's telling you tat equals Patipa Pavana. Patipa Pavana anantaram tasya paschat. So after the unfavorable winds, which were described in the last shloka. So gata shloka varnita Patipa Pavana anantaram. Now he's coming up to the compound is Baddha Bhima Parivesha Mandalaha Ravihi. So let's see what Vigaravakyam he gives. One of the best ways to learn compounds, one of the best ways is to read the Adhikrita Tika, the authorized commentary, and take the Vigaravakyam what they are giving. Of course, they will not give you very, very simple compounds. But take the ones that they are giving, understand how they are giving, and then you try to practice on your own, to the one that they have not given. So, Baddham, Bhimam, if you just take, let's say, Gita, Ramayanam, Bhagavata Puranam, Raghuvamsham Kavyam, and just understand only the Vigraha Vakyam which have already been given to you, you will be an expert in compounds. Expert in compounds. Because when you say compounds are difficult, so just come and take only those compounds which already are fully explained to you. So, Baddham, Bhimam, Pariveshasya equals Paridheya Mandalam. Now, within the Vigraha Vakyam, she has given a Paryaya Shabdaha. It's something very important. Of course, in this book, you have them nice bold. You may not have this bolding and underlying in all the books. So, first thing you have to understand is Pariveshasya equals Paridheya. So, the Vigraha Vakyam really doesn't need Paridheya. It should only be Baddham Bhimam Pariveshasya Mandalam Yasya Saha. So that's all. That's all. So it is that sun around which there is Baddham is bound or fastened to it is a terrible bhimam. Parivesha is the halo. Parivesha is the halo, circle around it. Parivesha Mandalam is circle of the halo, the aura around it. So Pariveshasya Mandalam. So and the moment you see Yasya Saha, clearly it's a Bahavuri compound. This is the thing which you have to be able to pick out. Now they will, one thing of course, they will not use the word Bahavuri compound in the Tika. You should understand on your own. So from the Vigraha Vakyam is given a formula. It's a set formula. You have to be able to decode that formula and then tie it to what kind of samasa it is. Simple rule, when you see in the Vigraha Vakyam Yatta Padam, that is going to be Bahuvari compound, because that is what is called Anyapada Pradhanaha. Because Yasya Saha, it is one who, from somebody outside the compound, which the compound is referring to somebody outside, in this case Ravihi. It is one whose, so around whom has been bound this or fastened this terrible circle of the halo. So if you want to take it step by step, you can collapse it like this. Pariveshasya Mandalam. Simply, this is a Shakti Tatpurusha compound. Straightforward. Pariveshasya Mandalam. Tatpurusha compound, we generally simply see a vibhakti here. It is Uttapura Pradhanaha, which is a Mandalam, is a Pradhanam, and Pariveshasya Mandalam, like, Rajnyaha Purusha, Raja Purusha, Pariveshasya Mandalam. Now the question is, this is a subtle question here. Why did he bother to give this Tatpurusha compound Vigraha Vakyam? Why Malinatha? He's not going to waste any words. So why did he bother to give Pariveshasya Mandalam as a Vigraha Vakyam? Because he wanted to stick in between that Pariveshasya equals Paridhehe. So to give the Paryaya Shabdaha, he gave the Vigraha Vakyam so that he can tell you Pariveshasya equals Paridhehe. If he didn't split it up, if that was not split up, he could not give Parivesha equals Paridhi. Okay, so that's why he gave Pariveshasya equals Paridhehe Mandalam. That's a Tatpurusha compound. Now you can, once you make Tatpurusha compound, you can collapse that. Why? How can you collapse that? Because Tatpurusha is Uttara Pradhanaha, Uttara Pada Pradhanaha. So because Pradhanatvam is Uttara Padam, the prior Padam doesn't have importance. So if you want to form a bigger compound with the Tatpurusha compound with other elements in outside, you don't need the Pura Padam anymore. You can just take the Mandalam now. You don't need Parivesha anymore. So that Parivesha doesn't have importance because the entire meaning of the compound is conveyed by Mandalam. Of course, some details are given. Parivesha is the only detailed part of it. We don't need that. When you want to construct a bigger compound out of it, you don't have to take the whole thing now. Leave Parivesha out of it now. So, Baddham Bhimam Mandalam is this thing. Now, make Bhimam Mandalam as a Karmadharya compound. Bhimam Mandalam. So, Bhimam Mandalam is, of course, the circle. So, Bhimam, a terrible circle, kind of fearful, scary circle around it. Scary circle. So, Bhimam Mandalam Karmadharya. Now, again, you can leave the Bhimam out of it also. Because remember, Karmadharya is subset of Tatpurushas. The Karmadharya is subset of Tatpurushas. So you can then, so Bhimam can also be left out. Now we're left with a simple compound, Baddha Mandalam. So Baddham Mandalam Yasya Saha. So one who has this circle fastened around it. So that's how we can collapse these compounds. So take two, after some practice, you can get this practice of, the putting the brackets in the right place and sometimes it may not be in black and white. Compounds interpreted in many ways. So the Vigraha Vakyam is given, so we'll do it one more time. Pariveshasya equals Paridheya Mandalam Tatpurusha Shashi Tatpurushaha. Tatpaschat Bhimam Mandalam Karmadharyaha. Tatpaschat Baddham Mandalam Yasyasaha. Bahuvri. Finally we got a Bahuvri compound. Became Baddham Bhimam Pariveshasya Paridheya Mandalam Yasyasaha. Now, the word Paridhi, a little bit of grammar for us. Paridhi, you see this, I think we were talking about last time, it's a little bit of grammar. This one is like word like Upadhi, Samadhi, and all these words. They have a special sutram for them. Special sutram. So what is sutra we can pick up along the way? We can try to look at these. So 3392, the sutram, 33, Upasarge Ghokihi. Upasarge Ghokihi. Now, what is Ghokihi? So, following is a dhatu which is a Ghu Sanya. What is Ghu Sanya? Dada Gvadab. Dada Gvadab. This is Sanya Sutram. That the Sanya Ghu, just like you saw the Sanya Gi in the earlier class, Ghu is also Sanya. This Ghu Sanya is given to the dhatu, which is the form Da or Dha. These two, Da or Dha. But are there only two dhatus then Da and Dha? The answer is no. The answer is no because of the fact that the sutram is 6145 says Adech Upadesha Shati. Also very important sutram. Any dhatu ending in an H, A, O, I, O, that H will immediately become an Akaraha. Ad. Ad Echaha. Upadeshe Ashiti. If the pratyaya which is following, if there is no pratyaya which is coming, which is the talavya shakara as an it, in that case, any dhatu ending in A, O, I, O, becomes akaranta. Very quick example, dhatu gai becomes ganam, jai becomes dhyanam. So because that pratyaya lyut, which became ana, but doesn't have the talavya as an it, if you know that dhatu ending in A, I, O, Au, or I should say A, O, I, Au, if it's not going to take a pratyaya which is talavya as an it, immediately they also become akaranta. If a dhatu is there, they or they, it also becomes da. It's not just two dhatus which get the gu sanya. There are about 6-7 of them. That will be in the first chapter of the Ashtadhyayi. That's where the sanya are defined. So dada gvadap. Dada gvadap is 120. Dada gvadap. Now why do we need the gu sanya? We need the gu sanya because the Sutram 3392 is telling us that these are the dhatus which is upasarge go. When upasarga is there prior to them, you can take the pratyaya ki to make a noun. Upasarge go. So let's look at this dada gvadap is 120. Look at it for 1 second. 120. This is the let's see. Okay, that's not. Okay, 120. 120 dada gvadap. Dada gvadap. I mean, is any new sutram repeated 5-10 times? Dada gvadap. Da, dha, gu, adap. So da and dha gets the sanya of gu, but not the dhatu dap, adap. Adap means excluding the dhatu dap. So da rupaha, dha rupascha dhatavaha, gu sanyakaha bhavanti, dap daipo vajayatva. Means the dap and daip. So removing these two, other dhatus get the, and he gives also, da rupaha chatvaraha dhatavaha. There are 4 of them. Judai dane, dan dane, do avakhandane, deng rakshane iti. Dharupo iti dvau dhatu, which is dudhai dharana poshanayoho, dhet pane iti. So there are these 6 dhatus which finally get the gu sanya, which is dudhai dane, dan dane, do avakhandane, deng rakshane, and then so these are of the form da. And then there are 2 more which are the form dha, dudhai dharana poshanayoho, and dhet pane. They get the gu sanya. So this is called dada gvadap. After that, we can go to 3392. 3392, and this, we are trying to form the word paridhi. Just not lose track of what we are trying to form. And form the word paridhi. So upasarge ghoki here. It says bhave or akriti chakara ke sanyayam inchi vartate. This is adhikara, by the way. Not to go into too many details. Adhikara, which meaning is any pratyaya coming? I think I mentioned in previous classes, just because you get the form doesn't mean that your job is done. We have to find which meaning the pratyaya came. What was the meaning implied in this pratyaya? So adhikara is starting from way back here, from 3.3, I think it's 18.19. Is bhave akriti chakara ke sanyayam. These pratyas which are coming from 3.3.18 to about 3.3, I think it's 1.12, they can come in bhave. Bhave means just to express the bhava, the meaning of the verb. What you call abstract nouns. So krud is to become angry. So krodha is anger. Anger just expresses the bhava of the dhatu. Or it can be akriti, a noun. Dha cannot be one who gets angry. Cannot be the doer of the action. It may be by which you get angry, in which you get angry, from which you get angry. So these kind of meanings may be possible. Of course, it has to be sanya. Yeah. Such a noun, if it's in a language, you can form the noun using this sutram. So that's what it is saying. Bhave akriti chakare ke sanyayam iti vartate upasarge upapade gu sanyakebhya dhatubhya ki pratyaya bhavati. So, and he also gives you kit karanam ato lopartham. So becomes the pradhi, antardhi, etc. We can use this sutram. So then we can make it like this. We can say what we have is the paridhi. So paridhi. Maybe we can say that it might be in the karmani artha, that by which something is circled around. I'm just thinking in my mind. There could be other way of doing it. So paridhiyate anena iti paridhi. Maybe one way. Paridhi, you have to check that. But the paridha, dha is to place. So paridha is to kind of to circle. So this is paridhi is like a halo around. So that by which something is engulfed. So maybe I should say karmani artha. I should say. I'm sorry. Karma this karanartha. karanarthe, that by which something is encircled. Possibly, maybe that might be a way. So this you have to go one of the best. So paridhi is you take pari plus the dhatu dha, dha plus pratyaya ki, and of course, so this is 3392. 3392. And then what happens is that pratyaya ki, only the ikara remains to anubandha lopaha. Remove the it letter. Balashak vatadite. The kakar is in it. Balashak vatadite. So this is the first order of business. Any technical term, the first order of business, it has to go into the it stripping department. You have to take out the packaging, remove the packaging, which is done from 132 to 138. Remove the it letters. So no technical term shall be used until you can remove the packaging around it. So 138. And then we need one more sutram, which was given in the Kashika over here. She says that the kit karanam ato lopartham, to remove the akaraha. So akar lopaha. So ato lopartham kit karanam. That sutram is ato lopaicha. Ato lopaicha. So these are all these sutras which you can, the more and more you practice the Ashtadhyayi, the more you take the Ashtadhyayi engine for test drive, you drive it around like a new car, you get to know all the features, Ato lopaicha. This sutram says that if you have the akaranta mangam, followed by pratyaya, which is ajadi, kit or nit, athva, if the idagama is there, then in that case the adanta mangam takes lopaha. Of course, by alone kyasya, only the akara takes lopaha. So 6464 along with 1152 will give you pari. We'll get pari plus dha plus e, and of course that's paridhi is the form that we want. We use 6464 along with 1152. And if the shabda is in the Amar Kosha, which a lot of this word Amar Kosha is, Amar Kosha is the Ashtadhyayi is Jagan Mata. Amar Kosha Jagat Pita. Amar Kosha should be by your side at all time because they have a lot of tikas, including Malinatha. Is tika on the Amar Kosha. So they can, if any was Amar Kosha, your job is almost done. Your job is almost done because you can then see what is given by that the tikakaras. Of course, all of them may not agree all the time. They may have different ways of giving, but we can check it. The word paridhi, I'll do it first, is page 42, number 32. It's a good edition of Amar Kosha published by the old Nirnay Sagar, which is republished by the Chokamba Press. So it's one I like to use. But there's also one good Amar Kosha published in South India, by the Adyar Library in South India. The Adyar Library, that has the Tika Malinatha in there also. Worth having. It's a 3-volume set. Pariveshastu paridhi. Upasujaka mandale. So paritaha vishyante anena is pariveshaha, and paridhi. So I was right. Paritaha dhyate anena. Okay. So my Vigraha Vakyam was okay. Paritaha dhyate anena. He gives a sutram also, 3392 iti kihi. Always good to confirm from Amar Kosha. It is not the Amar Kosha, it is a commentary Amar Kosha, but be careful. Amar Kosha will be the only paridhi only he gives. In fact, Malinatha quotes that. Malinatha has quoted that one over here. He says what? Pariveshastu. Now why did he quote this? Because he has given the, see how carefully they comment on these verses. They don't take any chances, so to speak. Because he wants to comment on the word pariveshaha. He gave the word paridhi. Now he's justifying that. So it's also a good habit for us. Of course, most of we go to Apti dictionary most of the time, which is fine. For English, it is okay. If you want to use Paraya Shabda in Sanskritam, then go to this Kosha. Amar Kosha, Medini, Vaijayanti, all these Koshas, Halayudha, these Koshas are available to us. So you can choose this because they'll give you sometimes they'll give you many different meanings of the same word. Sometimes they'll give you synonyms of the word, So Pariveshastu Paridhi. So Parivesha is called Paridhi. Upasuryaka Mandale. Upasuryaka Mandale. So there's a mandala, there's a circle around the sun. Upasuryaka Mandale. Itya Maraha. Okay. So that's how we finish that compound. So Ravi is being qualified by that. Baddham Bhimam Pariveshasya Mandalam Yasya Saha. Okay. So that is what is that compound. Now remember this. Remember the order of the sentence is generally we have the subject, object, verb. So he has taken, this is going to be a passive sentence. It's a passive sentence. Ravihi lakshyate. 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 Dhatu laksh. So lakshyate is going to be a passive sentence. Now let us maybe look at, what, if you can find this dhatu laksh comes in which gana, and see, maybe is it, let's see. And I hope all of you also using the online dictionary of Apte, which is very good, very convenient. Thanks to University of Chicago, we have this online thing, so we can look at the dhatu laksh. Okay, let's see what gana he gives. Laksh. Okay, there might be too many hits on this one. Okay. See if you can find what gana this dhatu is. It will not matter much because it's going to be a passive construct unless it is a churari gana. We have to add nishpattya first. That's why I'm looking what gana is it. Okay, lakshya is only first gana is given. And also 10th gana also. Lakshyati, lakshyate. Lakshyate, to perceive, to apprehend. So lakshate, lakshitaha, to perceive, to apprehend, to observe. Again, it can also 10th gana also. This is one type. This online dictionary has a typo, by the way. I don't know why this has happened to this dictionary. This dictionary online, all the 10th gana dhatus, the 10th gana dhatus, all are showing 1. Instead of showing 10, they're showing 1. In the online Apte dictionary, for some reason, all the 10th gana dhatus, instead of showing the number 10, they're showing number 1. This one is because if you look at the form lakshayati, lakshayate, this clearly is the 10th gana. Let's put a document maybe. So in the online Apte, there's some problem here. So just keep in this mind. In online Apte, there is a problem. The 10th gana, 10th gana is for some reason coming as is showing as first gana. So it's becoming 1U. So this time, it's I put example here. So example is lakshayati. For example, lakshayati is showing up as 1U. It should be 10U. So lakshayati, lakshayate. Maybe it's just the I don't know. Maybe it might be just the viewing thing which is happening. I don't know what it is. It's showing as 1U. Should be 10U. Should be 10U. Anyway, that's the problem. But just keep it in mind. That's what's happening here. But bottom line is that it's first gana or 10th gana. So if it's 10th gana, we have to add a nishpattya first. So we don't have. If you want the, let's do that one. Let's do both quickly. If you have the lakshyate, let's look at one thing, which is that normally you have kartari shab sarvadhatuke. But prior to that, sutram is sarvadhatuke yak. Sarvadhatuke yak. Bhavakarmanoho. In a passive construct, no matter what gana dhatu belongs to, doesn't matter. It's a passive construct, and the pratyaya falling has a sanya of sarvadhatukam. In that case, you get the pratyaya yak. So sarvadhatuke yak, anuvritti of bhavakarmanoho. In the passive, bhava is the impersonal passive, karmana is the passive, karmanoho. So when the bhava karma is the in the sense of bhava, in the sense of karma, in the passive construct, then we get the pratyaya yak, which before pratyaya falling is sarvadhatuka. What do you write in dhatu? Laksh. Laksh plus lat pratyaya. Lat pratyaya. If you take the first gana laksh, then we are pretty much done, because all we have to do is just skipping some steps. We can make it. Of course, laksh. Lat means you remove the it letter by halantyam. Upadesh ajunana sika it. Then lasya tiptasji. Remember, one more thing I'd like to remind you of is that by 1.3.13, bhava karmanoha sutram, in the passive, you can only use a pratyaya which is the atmanipadam. Atmanipadam pratyaya only. This rule is almost never violated. This rule is almost never violated in the language. In the passive, you can only use a pratyaya which is atmanipadam. So if it's not atmanipadam, it's not passive. Very simple rule. Remember this, please. If it's not Atmanepadam, it is not passive. Of course, active can be either Atmanepadam or Prasnapadam. That is fine. But if it has to be passive, it has to be Atmanepadam. If something is not Atmanepadam, it is not passive. 99% of the time, 99% of the time, this rule is not violated. Of course, in the Bhagavad Puranam, you may have 1-2 places which is violated, but 99% of the time, this rule works. Is that if something has to be a passive construct, then the pratyaya has to be Atmanepadam. So if you're looking for a passive construct or a passive usage, and it is not doesn't have the Atmanepadam affix, you can be sure, 99% sure, it is not passive. Okay, so bhava karmanoho. So then we bring in the pratyaya tip, ta atam jha as necessary. Now what are we qualifying here? Is ravihi lakshyate. Ravihi is seen. So ravihi is a third person singular usage here. Pratyaya ta has to come. Pratyaya ta only has to come. So we can now make it laksh plus the pratyaya ta. So this was using what we use here. What we used the sutram, of course, lat, etc. We won't put those numbers in there, but 1, 3, 13 was used. Of course, then the usual 3, 4, 78, tiptajji, pratyata was used, and then sarvadhatuke, yak. So we get lakshya. So in the meanwhile, before that, what we have to do, remember one more thing, we should repeat many times in this class, many times now already, is once you apply 3, 4, 78, do not leave 3, 4, 78 until you scan the remaining of 3.4 and finish all those operations. 3, 4, 78 really is a collection of rules. It really is down 3, 4, 78 with the whole section below that, which is lakara sambandhi adeshaha, nitya karyani vartante. So they have to be done immediately. So, because 3, 4, 78 only gives the default 18 pratyayaha, tiptaji, etc. In this case, it is ta. But the rules below that will modify that pratyaya immediately based on the lakara itself. So it doesn't depend on anything else. No matter what the dhatu is, what may be happening elsewhere, the moment the lakara is this, the pratyaya changes. But so those operations should be performed immediately after 3, 4, 78. So 3, 4, 78 is really a collection of rules. From 3, 4, 7 all the way below to end of 3, 4. You scan them. And then you move on to the next operation. Okay. So in this case, the rule that we require here is the next rule itself, 3, 4, 79. It says, Tita atmane padanam tere. Tita atmane padanam tere. What is the sutram saying? The sutram is saying that this titaha atmane padanam, titaha. So when we have the lakara, which has st as an it, right now we're talking about lat. Right now our usage is lat usage right now. So the tit lakara, if you have, atmane padanam pratyayanam. If the pratyaya is atmane padam, which is of course the second line, ta atam jha, thas atam dham, idvahi mahi. So those, what happens to them? Te he e. In the ti bhagaha becomes an ekaraha. What is ti bhagaha? It's another sanya, ti bhagaha. It was achontyadi ti. Achontyadi ti. So achontyadi ti, any new sutram, achontyadi ti. Please repeat it many times. 1164. So for any term, the ti bhaga is you take the last vowel in that term and go to the end of that term. Right now we're looking at the pratyaya ta. There's only one ach in there, which is the akaraha. It's also antya varnaha. There's nothing after that. So for ti bhagaha akaraha eva. The akara is a ti bhagaha. What if you take a word like manas, for example? What is the ti bhagaha? It is us. You start from the ending akara and go to the end, which is us, and so on. So this sutram 3479 is saying that if you have a tit lakara which turns an it, and the pratyaya uses atmanipadam, then the ti bhaga becomes a. Tita atmanipadanam tere. Now we get the form. After we apply, we will get laksha, lakshte. And finally, of course, in between, you will get sarvadhatuke yak, sarvadhatuke yak, sarvadhatuke yak, sarvadhatuke yak, sarvadhatuke yak. So this was tita atmanipadanam tere. And finally, we're going to get lakshyate. Just simple rules, but try to understand them, try to keep them in your mind. Next time when we do this, hopefully if you revise them and all these documents are saved on the web. All the classes are recorded on the web, which is, so if you want to refer back to any of these, you can always listen to the recording. You can always ask questions. So it is, please make use of the facility that you have now. So you can revise all these rules. And of course, it requires many lists. I have, must have listened to this sutram over 1,000 times. This sarvadhatuke yak, bhavakarmanoho, titra atmane padanam tere, tiptajji, bhavakarmanoho. This is like, like ABC after a while. So, but we need to practice. Now, if you take the dhatu, the 10th gana, the only difference will be that because this belongs to first gana and 10th gana both, then you first have to add a pratyaya nich, because in the 10th gana, it is churadibjo, swarthe nich. 3-1-20, the pratyaya nich has to be added. Before you can use any dhatu from the churadi gana, before doing anything else, you have to add a pratyaya nich by 3-1-25, without changing, means swarthe, without changing any meaning. Now, nich means what? Chutu halantyam. Remove the it letters. That's of course the first line of duty. Remove the it letters, and we will get ikaraha. So anubandha lope ikaraha avashishyate. Chutu iti sutrena nakarasya itsanya halantyam iti sutrena ancha chakarasya itsanya tayo lopaha. Tasya lopaha 139. This tasya lopaha. So 139. I'm repeating that one, but 139. And then you make the form lakshi. You get the new dhatu lakshi. Lakshi. So this dhatu lakshi, this will get a dhatu sanya by 3-1-32, because unless lakshi has a dhatu sanya, you cannot bring any lakara, cannot bring any krit pratyaya, it requires the dhatu sanya. So this what 3-1-32 says, sanadyanta dhatavaha. Sanadyanta dhatavaha. So then after that, you go to the same operation we did before. All the same operations on top. And what will you get? You'll get this now you get lakshi yate. So now we need one sutram to remove the ikaraha, which is why I brought this example to you. Is now we get using the same operation that we did before. All those steps will be the same. So you'll get lakshi yate. We're going to make it lakshyate again. From that sutram is the niraniti, nehe aniti. Aniti. If you have a pratyaha which has a sanya of ardha dhatukam, because anidada ardha dhatuka pare ne lopasya 6-4-51. The niche pratyaha, I know a lot of sutras coming to you today. We'll listen to them, and hopefully at some point when you heard them 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 times, you'll understand them and you can apply them. And more importantly, you can teach them to somebody else. That's the best way to retain the sutras, is to teach them to somebody else. Because he will ask you questions. Then you have to think, why this? Why not this? How come this so you told before? And why this is happening? Why did that not happen? So that is when you really learn, when you teach somebody else. So dhanavashadeva jnanam sthiram bhavati. Only by adhyapanadeva. So when you listen to the sutras 10, 15, 20 times, apply them on your own, and if you have the chance, teach them to somebody else. Then also you will learn. So lakshi yate, so ne lopaha by niraniti, nehe aniti, anirada ardha dhatuke pare ne lopasyat. So you get the final same form, lakshiyate. That's why I want to bring this second. That's why I checked in Aptya dictionary which gana this dhatu belongs to, because I want to mention this sutram to you. 6-4, very important sutram, 6-4-51. There is an adhikara called ardha dhatuke, which Panini brings in the 6th chapter and the 2nd chapter. 2nd chapter only talks about dhatu substitutions. In the 6th chapter, of course, we have the angakaryam, and niraniti, the sutram, which is if you see a pratyaya which has the sanya of ardha dhatukam, which is of course tingshit ardha dhatukam sheshaha. In that case, the prior niche will drop if that doesn't have an idagamaha. Idagama comes from what sutram? It is ardha dhatuka shared valadehe, 7-35. Only if it's a valadi pratyaha, then only it can qualify to maybe get an idagamaha, if the dhatu allows it. Now what is val? Val equals hal minus yakaraha, because hayavarat. So val is all consonants except the yakaraha. Right now we have the pratyaya yak. let's say yakaradi. So it is not, doesn't have a val, not valadi. So atra idagama nasambhavati. So that's when we put all that together, we can get the form lakshyate in two different forms. Anyway, some vyakaranam for you today. So lakshyate, that's the final form. Ravihi lakshyate. Simple sutra, simple shloka is Ravihi lakshyate. One more thing you can do. If you don't understand all these compounds in between, what he's trying to tell you, Amar Kosha, this, that, everything, you can just say a simple sutra. So simple shloka, Ravihi lakshyate. Kidusha Ravihi. Then, Baddha, Bhima, Parivesha, Mandala Ravihi. Then, Upama Kutra Asti. So Kutra Asti Upama, this Bhoga, Veshchita, Iva, Chuto, Manihi, and so on. But if you get a simple construct, you can add on this part later on. Okay, let's continue with the commentary. Vainateya Shamitasya equals Garuda Hatasya Bhoginaha Sarpasya Bhogena Kayena Veshchitaha Chutaha Manihiva Lakshyate Sma. Okay, one more time. Now he's given the Upama Iva, which of course is this trademark of Kalidasa Iva. Looking like a money here. So as I said to you many times, in the Upameya, you try to match the vibhaktis. You have to match the vibhaktis because the lingam and the vachanam may not match. But vibhakti samyam syadeva. So you get manihi is prathama ek vachanam in the Upama side. Upameya side, Ravi is prathama ek vachanam. So I shouldn't say ek vachanam won't matter. So prathama I should say. So Ravi is, so the Ravi is compared to a Mani here. Mani hi iva. Okay. Then he says, Kasya Mani here. Bhoginaha equals Sarpasya Mani hi iva. Like the Mani, like a jewel which is supposed to be on the hood of a serpent. The Bhoginaha. Bhoginaha Sarpasya. And it has one adjective it has. Is Bhoga Veshchitaha Iva. At this point, I hope that all of you know the Sandhi rules. Like we say, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Bhoga Veshchita Iva. So it's really Bhoga Veshchitas. We won't put it in the document, but Sasajusho Ruho. Then Bhoga Purvasya Yoshi, become Bhoga Veshchitai Iva. Lopa Shakalyasya, which is 8319. Then Tasya Siddhatvat. Ad Gunati Sutrena Guna Adesho Na Bhavati. So please understand the Sandhi rules should be now easy ABC for you now. If you don't, please practice them. So please go to the avg-sanskrit.org for some practice if you want. There are many examples there. Sandhi rules should be automatic. That is really because if you cannot break the Sandhi rules, it will be difficult to get the individual words, and this is the right day if you have an issue. So Bhoga Veshchitas Iva, Sasajusho Ruho, then Bhoga Purvasya Yoshi, Yakara Deshaha, Bhoga Veshchitai Iva, Lopa Shakalyasya, Yakar Lopaha, Yakar Lopa Asiddha in the eyes of Adgunaha. Because otherwise the question you can ask is why not Adgunaha here? Because this last sutram you applied is Lopa Shakalya state 319. And after that, we cannot go back to Adgunaha because of Purvatra Siddham. So please practice the Sandhi rules. We're not doing this class because, at this point, I think most of us know those rules. If you don't know, always post questions, ask, we'll answer them. So Bhoga Veshchitaha Iva. So Bhoga Veshchitaha, he says, Bhogena Veshchitaha. Again, why did Ball to give this compound Vigraha Vacham? Same thing as before, because he wants to tell you Bhogena is Kayena. Because the word Bhoga has been used by Kalidas, Shabda Chalaha, he's making a play on the words. He's used the word Bhogaha back to back in two different meanings. This is Bhogenaha, he used one time, then Bhogena, Bhoga Veshchitaha. So he says, Bhoginaha is Sarpasya, then Bhogena is Kayena. Now what is Bhogaha? In Amar Kosha says, Bhogaha Sukhe, Striyadi Bhrutau, Aheshcha Phanakayayoho Ityamaraha. Just like the Ashtadhyayi is worth memorizing, even these Amar Kosha shlokas are worth memorizing. So, but if there's something you want to memorize, please memorize sutras, memorize maybe Siddhanta Kaumudi, memorize Amar Kosha. Please do not memorize Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha. That's really, because that is not, I mean, it's good to know what they are if you want to become familiar with them, but it is not a productive use of your time. So memorizing Nadi, Nadyau, Nadyaha, Nadim, Nadyau, Nadihi, that all is not a good use of your time. If you want to memorize something, memorize Ashtadhyay Sutrani first. After that, maybe Vartikani, maybe Siddhanta Kaumudi Vyakhyanam. Then, if you want to increase your vocabulary, Amar Kosha. These are things you want to memorize, if you want to. So, Bhogaha Sukhe, Triyadi Bhrutau, Bhruta Vaheshcha Phanakayoho. Bhoga comes in these meanings. Sukhe, of course, Bhoga, is Ananda, happiness, enjoyment, Bhogaha. Then Striyadi Bhrutau. Bhrutau in this case is wages or hire, hiring or wages of Striyadi, from maid servant, etc. That's not what you want now. But Aheshcha, Pratibhajam Ahi, so this is Harivat, Aheh means of a serpent. Phanakayayoho. So Phana is the hood. Kayayo in these two meanings. It can mean the hood of a serpent, it can mean the body of a serpent. So now Kalidasa has used this bhoga in two meanings in the same shloka. Oh, that's the Kavya Kaushalyam is the Bhoginaha Bhogaveshchitaha. That Bhoginaha is Sarpasya, one who has Bhogaha. So that Bhogina is Phaninaha. That first Bhoginaha Sarpasya is Phaninaha, one who has a hood. Of course, this Phaninaha is a straightforward form. It is Ata Inithanau, the one who has that. This is in Tadita land. We have looked at this section, I think, a few times already. It starts in 5294. Quickly we can do it. Did we do in the last class? Let me just check last class. No, we didn't do it. In fact, last time we had this Putam, Varuthinaha, Varuthin. Varuthin. Same thing here, Bhogin. In the last class we did this Varuthin in the last shloka. So we can do the same steps over here also. So it is the Adhikara starts from 5294. In Tadita is a huge section. So some section is nice, well defined. One of them is this one, very famous section. It's called Matuparthya Pratyaha. Matuparthya Pratyaha. So 5294. Tadasya asti asmin iti matup. Tad asya asti asmin iti matup. So one who has that, or in him that can be found. So one who has a hood, one who has a phana is phanin. So this is the pratya matup is given. We don't have matup right now. The pratya ini. So that comes below here. It says Ata Inithanau. 52115. Since we did it last time, we won't go through in details now again. But we did it last time also in the class. Is 52115. Ata Inithanau. Adanta Pradipadikam. Remember, with Adhikara of the Niya Pradipadika. So means Ataha means Adantar Pradipadika. Pradipadikam ending in the Rasvakaraha. Ata Inithanau. Let's look at the Vyakhyanam quickly, which says that the Vyakhyanam says Akarantar Pradipadikat Ini Thanau Pratya Bhavataha, in the meaning of Matup. So right now we have the word Phana or Bhoga, add the Pratyaya Ini. We did in the class last time. Look at this last time we did in the class. Is what we did was we removed the Akara at the end of Bhoga or Phana by applying Sutram Yachibham and then Yascheti Cha. And then for last time we want to make the word Varuthini in the feminine. This time we only need the word Bhogin. Bhogin. So these steps are common, which is Yachibham, Yascheti Cha, and then 152115. So we get the form Bhogin. Now, so that Bhoga in that case means Phana, so Phanin. But then the next thing, he immediately uses the same word in the sense of Kaya. So that's why Mulinatha was saying Bhogena Kayena. So Bhoga Veshchitaha, Bhogena Veshchitaha, which is that which has been encircled, enveloped. Dhatu is Veshchitaha, encircled by the body. So so the Surya looked like a manihi, like a gem, which has of a serpent, a hooded serpent, which was engulfed by his body, protecting it. He was protecting it in his battle with Garuda. He lost his money. He didn't want to lose it, so he was kind of clasping it in his coils. That's what the mani looks like. Because remember, the Ravi also has this halo around him now, which is the parivesha. The parivesha is like the bhogaha, the kaya of the sarpa, and the mani is of course the Ravi. So this bhogena is kayena. This is simple compound, the Tritiya Tatpurusha compound, which is the sutram is in 2.1. You'll find this from 2.1.22 Tatpurusha. Here you'll find the sutram which says Kartukarane Krita Bahulam. Kartukarane Krita Bahulam. So if you have Kartukarana, then you can, and with the Krit Pratyaya. So we have Bhogena Veshtitaha. That Bhogena, you can take it as Kartukarana either way. Bhogena Veshtitaha. So it was, and you have Krit Pratyaya. So 3.1.2.132 Bhoga Veshtitaha 3.1.32. Bhoga Veshtitaha Dhatu is Vesht. So that pretty much completes that for us. So Bhoga Veshtitaha, very simple Tatpurusha compound. And again, the reason why Muninatha gave the Vigraha Vakyam to us was because of the fact that he wanted to give the meaning of Vesht in this context. Bhoga Veshtitaha 3.1.32. 3.1.32 Bhoga Veshtitaha 3.1.32. Okay, so this is what we have here, and he gave the Amar Kosha quotation. Now, last thing remember here is that Vainateya Shamita. Okay, well, Bhogina also, if you want, I can put there. So Bhogina is Shashti Ekvachanam Bhogin. Bhogin is, if you look at Sarpasya, Shashti Ekvachanam. So Bhogina is Sarpasya. And if you don't know the vibhakti of something, look around in the shloka itself, look around the Vyakhyanam. They will give a Paryaya Shabda with the same vibhakti most of the time. If you say Bhoginaha Sarpasya, you know Bhogina also Shashti Ekvachanam. Because Bhogina had many choices. Could have been Prathama Bhavachanam, Dvitiya Pratyaya Jas, could have been the Dvitiya Bhavachanam, Pratyaya Shas, Athva Panchami Ekvachanam, Pratyaya Nyasi, Athva Shashti Ekvachanam. But the comment is Sarpasya. So Sya is only going to be the Shashti Ekvachanam. So Bhogina also Shashti Ekvachanam. So in the word Bhogin, we can use the 52115. We already talked about it. Bhoginaha is 52115 Sarpasya. Now last thing is Vainateya Shamitasya. Vainateya is Garudaha. Vinatayaha Amatapatyapaman. His mother's name was Vinata. Vinatayaha Apatyam Paman Vainateyaha. Okay, now Vainateyaha. So Vinata plus Vinatayaha Apatyapaman. So we can take the Pradipadikam Vinata, which was Garuda's mother's name, like Kaunteya comes in, of course, Gita many times. Vinata plus the Pratyaya Nyas Vinatayaha Apatyapaman. And add the Pratyaya, which is the Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak. Stribhyo Dhak. So Dhak means, let's talk about this for a second. First of all, which section in the have to be looking at is Tasyapatyam. In Tadita land, just like we saw the Madhupadhikaraha, Tasyapatyam Adhikara also is a nice Adhikaraha, which is in 4.1, around 90 something, 92 Tasyapatyam. It goes to end of 4.1. So when you want to form a Tadita as a secondary noun, what you can call secondary noun adjective, which you take one Pradipadikam and make a new Pradipadikam out of it. In there's some relation with the old Pradipadikam. The relationship is there. This is Tasyapatyam. So when somebody's offspring, it doesn't have to be first, maybe son, grandson, whatever. In that meaning, you have to use this complete Tasyapatyam. And in that, the sutram is Stribhyo Dhak. Stribhyo Dhak. If you have a feminine, from the mother's name, if you're getting your name from the mother's name, then you can use the Pratyaya Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak. So let me see if you can find that. Stribhyo Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak. Stribhyo Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak. Okay, must be somewhere here. Stribhyo Dhak. Okay, must be in front of my eyes. Okay, Dhak, Mandakat. Okay, I'll search for it. It must be somewhere here. Stribhyo Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak, Stribhyo Dhak. So the first thing we'll do is, of course, remove the 8 letters from the from this. Okay, it's 41120, Stribhyo Dhak. 4123 bhyo dhak. So this is the sutram 41120. And now the question in the dhak pratyaya, what are the it letters? Halantyam, of course, the kaka is an it. Now, how about chutu? By chutu, the adya dhakarasya it sanya prapta. By the sutram chutu, the tavarga, pratyayadi tavarga, should take the it sanya. So dha is of course tar, dharna, so it should take it sanya. But there is a special sutram which comes in play over here, and that is 712. 712. It says ayaneya ina iya iha is phara kha cha gham pratyayadi. Now, nice long musical sutram, which is 712. 712 says ayaneya ina iya iha phara kha cha gham pratyayadi. Now, if you pratyayadi, if you have the phakaraha, dhakaraha, khakaraha, chakaraha, or gakaraha, you bring yatha sankyam respectively. You get replaced by aya, ayan. So ayan, or eya, or ina, iya, iyaha. In place of phakara, you get ayan. In place of dhakara, you get eya. In place of khakara, you get in. In place of chakara, you get iya. In place of gakara, you get iya. Right now we have pratyaya dhak right now. Pratyayadi. So phadha khacha gam pratyayadi nam. This is the reason why the dhakara is not an it letter by chutu. Because if you make it by chutu, this will make no sense. Because Panini is saying in this sutram that the dhakara becomes aya. Now, if the dhakara is going to take an it sanya by chutu, tasya lopaha, then idam vachanam anarthakam syat. Idam vachanam anarthakam syat. This statement by Pani that dha should become a will become useless. Because if the dha is going to take an it sanya, take lopaha, then what's the point of saying dha becomes a? So dha will become it sanya. So because of this vachana samarthyat, dhakarasya it sanya na bhavati. So bottom line is that dha becomes a. And now let's finish also 712. So we get okay. In the meanwhile, what happens is that you get the pratipadika sanya, the samasascha, just like we did in compounds. Same thing here. We get pratipadika sanya, and tadita gets a pratipadika sanya. And supo dhatu pratipadika yoho. Inside of pratipadikam, a sup cannot stay. So we remove that one. So here again the same set of rules. Krit tadita samasascha. Supo dhatu pratipadika yoho. Krit tadita samasascha. Supo dhatu pratipadika yoho. Iti nyaspratyasya lopa. Look syat. Removed. And then what we do is that we then make it vinata plus a. Only the dhakara becomes a. So dha becomes a. So maybe I put it separately like this. So vinata plus dak, vinata plus a. I'm sorry. Vinata plus a. So the dha became a. Dhakara only and become a. So this was 712, which is phada astu ayaneya ina iya iyaha phada khacha gam pratyayadinam ayaneya ina iya iyaha phada khacha gam pratyayadinam. So phada, so that dhakara becomes a. And this is what vachana samarthyat, this chutu doesn't apply. Okay, we need one last sutram here. Vainate here. We need two rules now. First of all, this pratyaya dhak has cause and it. So it's going to cause the adi vriddhi. Kiticha. In the last sutram of 7.2, last sutram, this is also a very confusing thing. Let's look at that one quickly. This kiticha. This is one thing. If you don't know the context of these rules, you're wondering what does sutram mean, kiticha. So if you don't have no anuvrittis coming down. So it says, taditeshu achamadehe, namtya vriddhi is coming down from your vriddhi, mujer vriddhi. Taditeshu achamadehe. When tadita pratyaya follows, then the adi ach takes vriddhi. As long as the pratyaya has this chavarga panchama or the chavarga panchama is in iti. And kiticha. If the tadita pratyaya has cause in it, then also the adi ach takes vriddhi. This is very confusing. Why very confusing? Because normally the sutram kiniticha stops guna vriddhi when the kit or nit pratyaya follows. So those are krit pratyayas, the kit pratyaya will not allow guna vriddhi. This is opposite over here. In tadhitas, if the pratyaya is kit, it will cause the adi vriddhi. It will be a cause of adi vriddhi. So 72118 is in stark contrast to 115. This Kiticha specifically says tadhiteshu achamadehe. The adi ach takes vriddhi. There is a pratyaya, the tadhita following, and that tadhita pratyaya either has the chavarga panchama nya as an it, the tavarga panchama na as an it, or ka as an it by Kiticha. So 72118, get the adi vriddhi become vaina. Vainata. So Vinata becomes Vainata plus A. We only need one last rule now. Let's put that. So Vainate. Let's copy this one. Put this here. Becomes Vaina. Vainata plus A. So we use Kiticha. Kiticha. And finally, we need to sutram remove the akaraha. The usual rule, we get the bhasanya by yachibham. When you add any pratyaya which is swadi is added, any swadi pratyaya. What is suadi? Suadi starts from 412, suav just. But it goes all the way to the end of chapter 5. Not only those 21 sub-pratyayas given in 412. It starts from 412, su, etc. But that suadi, which is referred to in 1417, 1418, starts from the pratyaya su of 412, but goes to the end of chapter 5. The end of chapter 5. So all the pratyayas which are the stri pratyayaha in the striyam adhikaraha, and so not only the 21 of these supratyayas which are well known to us, prasiddha supratyayah, parichitaha, which is well known to us, striyam stri pratyayaha api swadishu griyante, also part of swadi. Then most important, tadhitaha. Is more than 1,000 rules. They're also swadi. Why is it important? Important because of 1417, 1418, 1470 says Swadishva Sarvanamastane, Swadishva Sarvanamastane, which means that as a default rule, when the pratyaya which is suadi, which we just talked about from 412 to end of chapter 5, which is more than 1,000 rules, it's very, very important swadi. Then the angam will get the palasanya by default. The next sutram says yachibham. Pratyaya following is the yakaradi asva ajadi. Tarhi angasya bhasanya bhavati. Palasanya na bhavati. Now why can these two sanyas coexist? Because of akadarad eka sanya. Akadarad up to from 141 to end of 2.2, Panini says any sanya defined in this section. If both sanya are defined in this section, both of them are defined in this section, only one of them can stay. Of course, the bhasanya is a parakaryam here, and also it is a subset of the swadi issue. Because this one says when any swadi pratyaya follows, which is not sarvanamasthana pratyaya, the angam gets padasanya. This one requires a swadi pratyaya, not sarvanamasthana, but beginning with yakara or ach. So the conditions of 1418 are a subset of the conditions of 1417. So in that small subset, this bhasanya has to be given a chance, because it cannot coexist with the padasanya. It cannot coexist with the padasanya. It cannot coexist with that. So when yakara or ajadi pratyaya follows, yachibham has to be given a chance. And then we use sutram, which is yasche ticha, which we did last time. Yasche ticha from 64148, yasche ticha for the bhasya adhikara. The moment you get the bhasanya, come to the bhasya adhikara. 64129. And this sutram we did last time, which is yasche ticha. Ivarnantasya, avarnantasya, bhasanyakasya, angasya lopasyat, dite ikare chapare. So alontyasya, of course, only the ending. So if an angam ends in the avarna or the ivarna, just the yasya. The yasya is e, yan sandhi going on here, is e and become ya. Yasya. So ivarnantasya, avarnantasya, angasya, bhasanyakasya, angasya lopasyat, lopa from the prior sutram. Tadite ikare chapare. Yes, it is e teacher. What do we have right now? We have vai na ta. So it's avarnantam angam. It's got the bhasanya by yachibham. Pratyaya following is a swadi pratyaya. because we brought from 4120, pratyaya 120, dhak pratyaya. So it is now an ajadi pratyaya. So this ending akara will drop. So finally we get to vainat plus aya, vainateya, vainat plus aya, vainat. Of course, I think these steps are now getting easy for you, but since we are recording only, this is only the recording for the first year, so we'll keep repeating these a few times. So vainat plus aya, so 1 4 18, 1 4 18, and then of course the 6 4 1 40. This is a very familiar sequence. It should be now yachibham yascheti cha, yachibham yascheti cha, yachibham yascheti cha. One more time, yachibham yascheti cha. Very, very common sequence. Very, very, very common sequence. So, and so that removes the ending akara with the form vainateya. One more time, stribhyo dhak. First thing, see, this is the, gives you a flavor of the ashtajayi structure. Ashtajayi structure. His first Panini brings the pratyaya into the picture in chapter 3, 4, 5. So here we've got the pratyaya by the sutram stribhyo dhak. You have to see in what meaning the pratyaya is coming in, what meaning, what the pratyaya is, who can take the pratyaya. It's stribhyo dhak because it should be a stealing pradipadikam. Vinata was stealing. Pratyaya was dhak. Adhikara tasyapatyam adhikaraha. 4192 tasyapatyam. So this is a challenge in Tadhita. It's a challenge in Tadhita is that all three will not come in one sutra. Tasya adhikara tasyapatyam adhikaraha from 4192. Only adhikara only didn't say which pradipadikam is involved, or the didn't say anything. Just said the meaning from now on is tasyapatyam. Then this is stribhyo dhak, gives the remaining two pieces for you, which is stealing a pradipadikam is there, pratyaya dhak can be used in the meaning of tasyapatyam. Anuvartate. So then we went to the angakaryam. Then we removed, of course, got the pradipadika sanya, supodhatu pradipadikayoho, and after that we got the adesha of aya by the ayaneya ina iya third khachakam pratyadinam, that stopped the chutu, and then we did the kiticha adivriddhi, tat paschat yachibham yaschiticha is the angasya akar lopaha. So that's how we got everything. Vainateya and shamitasya hatasya. He has given us, if you don't want to do all this grammar, I'm going to keep it simple for you. You can just take what Malayalam is giving you. Vainateya shamita equals Garuda Hata. So simply speaking, Vainateya equals Garuda Ha. If you just want into your vocabulary, Shabda Sangrasya Vardhanam, Vainateya equals Garuda Ha. Shamita equals Hata. At least in this context. Sham is to be quiet, to be calm or peaceful. But Shamita, this particular niche is in there. Someone who has been made quiet. Someone who has been put to rest. Who has been killed, basically. So Shamita means put to rest, put at peace. You see how this word is coming, Shamita. So here we have to take the dhatu Sham at the pratyaya niche first. Pratyaya, the Sham plus niche, because of Hetumati Cha. Because this is Shamita, it will become Shanta. Shanta is one who is quiet, Shantaha. He is quiet himself, not made quiet by somebody else. He is quiet, he is peaceful, Shantaha. But Shamitaha, who has been put to rest, who has been quietened by somebody else. How do we know that? Because you can see the Ikaraha Drishyate. Nich Pratyaya Lakshyate, Nich Pratyaya Lakshyate. Nich Pratyaya is in there. Nich comes in Hetumati Cha. When somebody is propelling somebody else to do an action. So, so you can say is Sarpaha Shamyati. The serpent is quiet. But Vainateyaha equals Garudaha Sarpam Shamayati. Shamayati means he puts him to rest. Means Hanti ityartaha. He kills him basically. Only question here is that, of course, Nishpatya removes its letters as usual, which is Anubandha Lope Ikara Vashishyate. Chutuhalantyam, 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 chutuhalantyam. Repeat many times. As many times you can repeat, please repeat. Chutu, Patyadi Tavarga, Chavarga. Itsanyaka Syat. Halantyam, ending Chakar is also Tasya Lopaha. The question here is that why we not apply 72116, which is the Atopadhayaha. Atopadhayaha. Anurutya Vriddhi. We just saw Sutram in that section right now. Kiticha we saw in the last example. This one is the same. Vriddhi is in this. Anurutya is coming down. Let's look at 72116. 72116. We look at the Anurutya of that. Atopadhayaha. Vriddhi is Anurutya is coming down. Pratyaya, which is Chavarga Panchama, the Nya or Tavarga Panchama, N is in it. In that case, the Upadha Akaraha, which penultimate Akaraha, takes Vriddhi. Now we do have the Pratyaya niche coming right now by Hetu Maticha. So by remember Hetu Maticha, any Dhatu can take the Pratyaya niche in the case of there is a causation involved in that. Otherwise, only Churadigana Dhatus can take the niche Swarthe without changing their meaning. So this Dhatu, which is Sham, is actually in this is not in the Churadigana. So we can become Shamyati will become. But now the question is that the ending form is not Shamita, it is Shamita. It is Shamita. Let's do 72116 one more time. If we have the Akara as an Upadha, the penultimate as an Akara, do we have that? Yes, we do have that. Because Sham has an Akara which is Upadha. Pratyaya following is the Nit or Nyat, Chavarga Panchama, Chavarga Panchama. Tarhi Akarasya Upadha Bhutasya Akarasya Vriddhiradeshasya Vriddhiradeshaha becomes Shamita. Becomes Shami, not Shamita, but Shami. Make it Shami. Now the question is that what happened to that? How it becomes Shamita? Shamita. The next rule is a very important rule, kind of a sneaky rule, which always keep in mind is the sutram which says Mitam Rasvaha, Mitam Rasvaha, Mitam Rasvaha, Mitam Rasvaha. Like as I think mentioned last class also to you, Asatoma Sadgamaya. Sadgamaya, not Gamaya. Why not Gamaya? This is a question you should ask. You should ask this question. If you know Atopadhayaha, should have been Gamaya. Why has that not happened? Gamaya. This is the way you will learn. You will learn grammar. By knowing the sutra that you know well, know them well. Of course, sometimes we'll make mistakes also. It's okay. And then question. I know Atopadhayaha. Pratyaya niche is coming over here. How come it became Gamaya, not Gamaya? There must be some other rule over here. And that Mitam Rasva is the rule. Mitam Rasvaha. This is an important rule. Look at the Vyakhyanam for that. Mitam Rasvaha is when the niche Pratyaya follows, the Dhatu has more than it. In that it takes, the Ach becomes Rasvaha. For Rasva can only be for an Ach because the consonants don't have any Rasva Diga Veraha. So only the Ach. The Sutram says, Mito Dhatavaha Ghatadeha Mitaha Ityevam Adeha Ye Pratipaditaha Tesham Upadhayaha Rasva Bhavati Nauparataha. Nauparataha. When Nishpatya follows the Dhatu which have more than it, the Upadha becomes Rasvaha. But then this Dhatu Sham in Dhatu Pata is Shamu doesn't have more than it. But then it says Ghatadayo Mitaha. This is the hard part of this Sutram. This Sutram is the difficult part of this Sutram is that it is not clear which Dhatu has more than it. In fact, in the Bhvadiganaha section called Ghatadayo Mitaha, the Dhatus Ghatadeyaha, they are called Dhatu which have more than it. So in that Bhvadiganaha is a Ghatadiganaha subsection, and all those Ghatadeyaha are considered as if they have more than it. And they are the ones, when Nishpatya follows, their Upadha will become Rasvaha. Now, this Dhatu Sham is not even there, really. But there is the Gana Sutram, which says that Amantaha Mitaha. Among some other sutras, there is a long Gana Sutram. The ending part is Amantaha. So Dhatu ending in which we do have right now, Sham. They are considered as if they have more than it. This is the hard part. Mitam Rasva you can find. But then how is the dhatu sham a myth? Myth dhatu. Now, you can also work backwards. Good things to work backwards. The form should have been shamitaha. By atopodhaya, it should be known to you. Now, it did not become sham, it became shamitaha. Something must have happened. No parataha upadhayaha rasvatvam. Tarhi mitam rasvaha sutram drashtavyam. It is most likely going to be mitam rasvaha. And then go and investigate in the dhatu pataha, in the ghatadi-ganaha, how did dhatu sham come in the ghatadeha? There are some gana sutras. The gana sutra means in any gana, like gana patha, dhatu patha is like a gana patha, a special gana patha, which includes dhatus. There are some instructions embedded in there, and those give you some extensions, some extra, elements. So there is sutra which says that amantaha mitaha. So that is with the final thing. That's the difficult part of this. So please work backwards. If you see a nijjanta dhatu ho, so upadhaya rasvattam drishyate, tarhi mitam rasvaha, iti sutram drashtavyam. So then after you can investigate, because this is really the only main sutram by which this rasvattam can come for the upadha, but nishpratya follows. So we get the form shami by using 6492 mitam rasvaha along with the gana sutram in the dhatu pataha. You need that gana sutram. Okay, and then the next thing shamitaha. So that also shamitaha. Now this dhatu shami is a new dhatu by 3132, which says sanadyanta dhatavaha, sanadyanta dhatavaha, sanadyanta dhatavaha, sanadyanta dhatu. What is sanadyantaha? It starts from 315. All derived dhatus, derived dhatus, sadhita dhatavaha, derived dhatus from the gup tij kid byasan up to the 3131. Right now we use 3126 hetumaticha, so they get the new dhatu sanya. So dhatu sham had dhatu sanya, in the dhatu part it is there, but dhatu shami requires dhatu sanya. If it doesn't have it, you cannot use any of these sutras which are dhato coming everywhere now. This is dhato coming over here. This dhato is going to come in 3192 or 3190. 91 dhatoho, and sutram we want to use nishtha right now. Sutram we want to use is nishtha, which is this sutram which is says that the nishtha is kraktavatu nishtha. We cannot use nishtha sutram unless we have something which is dhatu sanya. So sanadyanta dhatavaha. Then we add the pratyakta anubandha lope ta by again remove these letters by lashakvatadite, remove this letter. And so this we have used 32102 nishtha, taktavatu nishtha, taktavatu nishtha, taktavatu nishtha. Is nishtha is a sanya. The pratyas kta and ktavatu, they get the sanya of nishtha, taktavatu nishtha. I think it's 1126, taktavatu nishtha. So then now this dhatu is going to take an idagamaha because of sutram 7235, which we saw earlier today, which is ardhadhatuka syed valadehe, tingshit sarvadhatukam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha, tingshit sarvadhatukam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha, dhato iti vihita pratyaha. Pratyaya which is coming after dhatu, which is prescribed after dhatu, and which is ting or shit gets a sanya of sarvadhatukam. Remaining pratyas sanya of ardhadhatukam. Ardhatukam sheshaha. And then by 7 to 35, ida agamaha. Now the question comes is what happened to one ikara in there? Because you had the dhatu shami, and then we had ita by using 7 to 35 and ardhatukam sheshaha. So I think let's look. Ardhatukam sheshaha should be in 3.4, I think. 3.4 towards the end of 3.4. After Panini defines all his pratyayas, then at the end he says that all these pratyayas which are coming after dhatu, dhato iti vihita pratyaya, they will be in two baskets. One is either will be sarvadhatukam or will be ardhadhatukam. And 34114 ardhadhatukam sheshaha, 34114 along with 7 to 35. The last question is, what happened to one ikaraha? Because the final form is Shamitra. Now we just saw the sutram today, which says Niraniti. Right below that, 6.452 says Nishtayam Seti. The Nish Pratyaya will also drop. If you refer Nishtha Pratyaya with the Idagamaha, the Nish Pratyaya drops. Like Mohitam Nabhijana, Bhagavad Gita. Mohitam Nabhijanati, Mame Vyaparamavayam, Daivi Hesha Gunamai. So chapter 7. This is a bit of Gita for today. Mohitam Nabhijanati, Mame Vyaparamavayam. Mohitam Nabhijanati. Of course, one thing to memorize, of course, is Gita. If you want to memorize something, memorize Gita. Memorize Ashtadhyayi. Memorize Amar Koshaha. Memorize Siddhanta Kaumudi. Don't memorize Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha. So it says Mohitaha. Kavya Pitra Mohitaha. Also this Mohita, Hatu is Moh. Moh became Mohi. Then Mohi plus Ta. Again Mohi plus Ita. Ikarasya Lopaha. Kina Sutrina Jataha. So Kina Sutrina Ikarasya Nehe Lopaha Vihitaha. The sutram is 6.452. Nishtayam Seti. Nishtayam Seti. So all these which are quite common forms, we see a causative, past passive participle is a very bad name, but that if you see a nish pratyaya followed by nishtha pratyaya, nishtha will take idagamaha, and then you need nishtayam seti. So really when you see the form shamita, what you're really seeing is the idagamaha there, not the nishtha pratyaya. Nishtha pratyaya always been lost by nishtayam seti. In the form shamita or mohita or karita, all these places, this ikaraha is idagamaha, not the nishpatyaya, because nishtayam seti. Or last, let's finish this one. So we get the let's see. Okay, so mohita also comes in chapter 7. Chapter 7 also it comes. Mohitam na vijanati. So all is Gita. If you know your Gita very well, you know tarhi moha na jayate. You don't have any moha after that. So here we use the final form Shamita by using Nishtayam Seti. Nishtayam Seti. So we've seen both rules today, which is Niraniti, Nishtayam Seti. Nishtayam Seti. So it becomes Shamita. Shamita. Nishtayam Seti. Again, this is Lopaha. Nishte Lopaha for Nishtha Pratyaya, which has the Idagamaha. That completes the word setting for us. Then Veshchitaha. Chutaha. Chutaha gives a commentary. Chu means to fall away, to deviate. You know what Achyuta, of course, all of you know Achyuta Narayana. One who never deviates, one who never falls away from his status. Achyutaha. So Chutaha means one which has fallen off. So Shiro Bhrashtaha. Adhipatikam Shiras. I hope you know all the Sandhi rules by now. Sasaju Shoruho. Hashicha. Adgunaha. So Shiro Bhrashtaha, which is fallen off from the head, from his thana, from his hood. Manihi eva lakshyate sma. Lakshyate sma, he says. So this Rama Sutram which we saw last time. Did we see it last time? Lakshyate sma. What is the sma doing over here? Here we had in last loka. Kvishyanti sma. 32118. Latsme. Latsme Sutam. Latsme. 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 What does Sutram say? That in the same meaning that normally with the pratyaya lit, parokshe lit we used, we can use lat lakaraha. If there is a sma, sme is a saptami ekavachanam, upapadam, satrapapadam saptami stham. So if the sma is used, then lat lakara can be used and get the meaning of lit. Lakshyate sma means it was seen in the parokshe lit. So this lit lakara is parokshe anadjatane bhute. So which is past tense, not the recent past, distant past, which has not been experienced by the speaker. In that case, lit is used. In lit can also be used in that same meaning, as long as you use sma with that. Okay, so now let's complete the meaning. It says that, get everything here? Okay. So the sun god was seen. Then tadanantaram, after that, after the strong counter winds, the sun god was seen as being encircled by this halo, which was very terrible, like the precious gem which has fallen away, and has been encircled by the body of a serpent who has been put to rest and is killed by Garudaha. In the struggle with Garuda, in the struggle he lost the gem and it fell. So the upama is with that. Upama is with the mani with Ravi, also with the parivesha with the bhoga also. So because this halo around the sun is like the body of the serpent. So, okay, let us now look at the translation. Give me a second. I forgot to open the page. Give me 1 second. Let me open the page. Find the right page. No, next page. I forgot to open the page. Okay, Lakshyate Sma. Let's see, who wants to do this? This is number 59. Okay, 59. So let's see. How about, was you try this one, Vasu, for us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's try. After that, what is after that?
Tadanantaram.
Tadanantaram means tasya viparita pavanasya anantaram. After that counter wind, the sun. What is the sun?
Ravi.
Ravi, with a formidable ring formed around it. It is
Baddha Bhima Parivesha Mandalaha.
So formed is the Baddha. The Bhima is formidable. Parivesha Mandalaha is that ring, the ring of the halo. Ring Parivesha Mandalaha. So this is a Bahuvari compound that we already saw. So the formidable ring formed around it. Now, so maybe the okay. Anyway, ring around is Parivesha Mandala. Appeared like.
Lakshate.
Lakshate is appeared. Lakshate Sma is appeared. What is like?
Iva.
The gem.
Manihi.
Dropped down. It is Chutaha.
Chutaha.
Drop down. Chutaha. Chut is to deviate, to fall away from, and encircled by the body.
Bhogaveshtita.
The body in this case, Bhoga is Kayaha. So we saw Amar Kosha quotation, we saw that Phanakaya Yoho. In this case, Kaya Veshtitaha. So encircled by the body, it's a compound, Sityataprusha compound of a cobra.
Bhoginaha.
Sarpasya Vyakhyanam Bhoginaha Sarpasya of a cobra. When killed
Shamitasya
by the son of Vinata.
Vainate.
Shamitasya. Thank you, Vasu. Now, I'll give you, we talked about the Bhoginaha Shashti there. We looked at the Vyakhyanam. We got Sarpasya. You also look at the word Vainateya Shamitasya. Samadhikaranam with Bhoginaha. You can mute yourself, Vasu. So, that also is Shashti. There are two ways to look at it. If you don't know the Vibhakti of a particular Prajapadikam, look around for Samadhikaranam. Many times, you'll find another word in Samadhikaranam with that, which is well known to you. Like Shamitasya, like Ramasya. You already have that. So otherwise look at the Vyakhyanam, Sarpasya. Either way you can. So if you don't know Bhogina, because Bhogina has many choices. But Vainateya Shamitasya only one choice. Shashti Ekvachanam. Okay? So you got that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's do at least some of that. Going a little bit slow, but I hope you can get, because if you this class, we can add value only by doing some Vyakaranam for you, giving some more tips. Okay. Noshena paksha paridhusaralakaha sandhyameka rudirardravasasah angana ivarjasvala disho no babhur avalokana kshamaha shena paksha paridhusaralakaha sandhyameka rudirardravasasah angana ivarjasvala disho no babhur avalokana kshamaha. Punarekavaram. Shena paksha paridhusaralakaha. Read loudly, clearly, very emphatically. Shena paksha paridhusaralakaha. Sandhya megha rudirardra vasasaha. Angana iva rajasvala disho no babhuvarravalokana kshamaha. So, padachhedaha Shena pakshaha eva paridhusaraha alakaha. So Shena paksha paridhusara alakaha samastam padam, compound word. Then Sanjha meghaha eva rudrardrani vasansi yasam taha tathoktaha. The next is also a compound word. Sanjha megha rudrardra vasasaha. Then next one is the Rajasvalaha. Rajasvalaha is for Madhu Pratyaya we see it in detail maybe in the next class. Rajasvalaha, the Pratyaya Valach has been used. Look at the sutra number now. Look at the sutra number 52112. Hopefully after some time you will start to get a feel for looking at these numbers what kind of sutram it is. So Kidrisham Sutram idam bhavet. Sutra Sankhya Nyayate. By the Sutra Sankhya, you can understand what kind of sutram it is. We just mentioned the class today from 5 to 94. Tadastyastyasminniti matup. Tadastyastyasminniti matup. From that, from 5 to 94 to end of 5.2, matupadhikaraha. In that, you can look at this number now, 52112. Immediately you know, we are talking about something, the sense of possession, one who has that. Rajasvala, that which has dust, impurity. So it was somebody who has possessed of dust. Of course, pratyaya is Valach pratyaya, which is not matup. In the meaning of matup it is coming. Okay? So these numbers you can start now taking a good shot at these. As I mentioned to you, all these sutras, they're only weapons in your hand to attack the sutram. The final objective is to get the correct meaning, the vivaksha of the speaker. Okay. Then Rajasvalaha Dishaha. Then he says Rajasvalaha Anganaha Iva Avalokana Kshamaha. Na U becomes no. Babhuvaho. Babhuvaho. So where does no come in Gita? Chapter 17, last shlokaha. Ashaddaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kutanchayata. Asadityuchyate partha nachatat pretya no iha. No iha. Bhagavad Gita, chapter, only one place in Gita, the no comes in Gita only in one place. In no iha. I'm pretty sure it's only one place. As I can remember, it's only one place. So it is chapter 17, last shlokaha. Chapter 17. Ashaddaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kutanchayata. Asadityuchyate partha nachatat pretya no iha. Yes, 1728. No iha. Interesting thing is that this no is this oka is exempt from sandhi because sutram oath. Sutram is oath. If you have a nipata ending in an okaraha, that okara will not go sandhila echo yavayavaha and etc. It not happen. Of course, in Raghuvamsham right now, we have no babhuvaho, so there is no sandhi possible. Because if it's followed by an ach pratyaya, then that not pratyaya, but any ach, then become prakritya. It will stay as it is. Sutram very quickly. So when you see the word no, you can think of the Gita, chapter 17, last sutram, last shloka, I should say, which is Ashaddaya tandattan tapastatan kutanchayata asadityuchyate partha nachatat pretya no iha. So this is Sanya. Pragriya Sanya starts from Sutram 1111. Sutram 1111. 1111. He says, Id Ude Dvivachanam Pragriyam. Below that Sutram called Oath. Nipata Ekachanang. Oath. Odanta Nipatraha. In that case, a Pragriya Sanya. In that case, this O will not undergo suddenly the following Ach. But it doesn't affect us right now because 1115 is Sutram. And then 6 downward, you have a sutram which says, Pruta Plagriya Achi Nityam. So 6115 says, when something is Plagriya Sanya, which is Pruta, then in that case, Achi Nityam Prakritya. It stays as it is. So when you think of when you encounter this term no, you should think about the chapter 17 of Gita, last shlokaha. Think about the sutram oath, followed by Pritapagriya Achinityam. These should be automatic in your mind. So no means a word like aho, word like no. Okay, there is Kinno Rajyena Govinda. Kim Bhogai Jivitena Va. Kim Bhogai Jivitena Va. Okay, now that no, thank you for the question, Rashmi. That we can unmute you.
Unmuted.
Okay, you have a mic, Rashmi?
Yes, Satishji.
Okay, what that no is actually the naha. Asma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. But that no comes in Gita. Rashmi, that it does come in Gita.
Okay.
That's not the nipata. Oh. It is.
Oh, okay.
It is Shashti Bhautan of Asmat Pradivadikam. And that will answer really is nas to begin with. It has become no. But
okay.
Yes, so that is the word. That the nipata no comes in Gita, I think only in one place. So
nipata no means what exactly, Satishji? Once again?
A subset of avyayas.
Oh, okay.
Swadi nipatam avyayam. So it is an avyaya. It's like what do you call in English, like particle, so to speak. Particles, So small
right,
particles.
like he and cha kind of.
Like aho, yeah, that's correct. So Chadi was substrate. So this nipata sanya, if you want to look at it quickly, it starts this nipata. It starts in, I think, 1-4. This pradeha. From 1456 starts nipata. Pragdishwaran nipata. And so Chadayo Satsure. So this Chadi is a Gana. In that you probably find the no in there. So the nipata is subset of avyas. Because of Sutram Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam 1137, all nipatas get the avyaya sanya. So nipatam avyayam.
So all nipatas, all avyayas are not nipatas essentially.
Exactly, got it. So nipata is subset of avyayas.
Okay.
Subset.
And how do you differentiate them? How exactly do you differentiate them?
So avyayam is the bigger umbrella. It has other things. So everything.
Right?
So no is a nipata is often avyayam. But look at the system which you're looking at right now, which is 1115. It requires a nipata to end in o, not any avyayam. So nipata will take special operation, which all avyayas may not take. So nipata is a subcategory of avyayam.
Yeah, that I got it. But how do you, when you see a word, how do you say it as a nipata or an avyaya? How do you?
You have to go to Ganapatha.
Okay.
And see whether no comes in, which Gana is it coming. And there are good Ganapatha books which you can have. The one that I like, by the way, is the one published by the Ramlal Kapoor Trust, which is called Ganaratnavali. Ganaratnavali, and it has a nice index at the back. And you can search for the word no and see which Gana it's coming.
Okay.
Once you know that, then you can connect to Pacha Stadhyas.
Okay.
So otherwise, just looking at it, you may not know.
Okay.
And sometimes there's confusion also because, Swaradi Nipatam, right? So now how would you know whether no is in Swaradi, or it's in Chadi? So just looking at it, you may not know. So you can get a mic, Rashmi. Get a headphone next time.
Okay.
Because you won't echo when you get the headphone. So
all right, sure, Satish.
Yeah. Or you can also dial in.
Yeah.
can you head for that, and then you won't echo.
Sure. Thank you very much, Satish.
Okay, thank you. So yes, no comes in Gita also other places, but I think in all the places it is na becoming no to Sandhi. Running out of time. So, okay, so let me put this in document. We should think about no. Please think about 17.28. Ashaddaya hutan dattam tapassatam kutanchayat asadityuchyate partha achathat pretya no iha. And think about 1115 oath. Think about 61125. Prita pragrya achinityam. You remain as it is. Prakritya bhavanti. Okay, let's just give a small, and we'll stop for today. Okay. The gist of shloka is that the disha is directions. Prajabadikam dish. Let's give some homework for next time. Prajabadikam dish. Disha is the prathama bahuvachanam. This is very confusing. It looks like a prathama ekavachanam. It is not. Prajabadikam is dish. It is a talavya shakaranta prajabadikam. Pratyaya is just. It is prathama bahuvachanam. Disha. And the comparison between this dishaha with the rajasvalaha naryaha. So this comparison is between the directions which look like women in their period. What the comparison is? I mean, they look very kind of fearful, not fit to look at. Is what is the comparison? Now these are double similes being given here. Let's take one of them quickly. Shena paksha paridhusara alakaha. Now paridhusara is that it is grayish. So alakaha is the locks of hair. So those so it can go in both meanings. So in the case of the directions, they had these hawks. Shena is a hawk. If any of you chant Devi Mahatmyam or Chandi Patha, so don't talk much in the class of Chandi Patha because do Gita first. Because Chandi Patha is has a lot of blood and heads falling off and all that. So though I like Chandi Patha a lot, also very useful for Vyakaranam. It's also a little bit of a test of Vyakaranam because Chandi Patha has a lot of rules of Pani has been bent over there. So you can also get some practice. Anyway, the Shena Anukarana Pranam comes in the second chapter of the Chandi Patha. This doesn't come in Gita, but the Shena comes in Chandi Patha, second chapter. So Shena Anukaranaha Rakshasaha. So these Rakshasas were like hawks. Shena Anukaranaha, which were like imitating hawks. Anyway, so Shena Paksha Paridhusara Alakaha. So these directions had as if were displaying locks of hair, which the tresses, which were grayish, and in what form? In the form of the wings of these hawks. This is the Kavi Kalpana. Kaveya Kalpana is that he imagines that the directions are like women who are in their period, and they have locks of hair which are becoming dusty, grayish, and then these directions had the wings of the hawks, which was like their locks of hair, looking dusty. So that is the gist of the shloka. Is the directions are being compared to the woman, and then their locks of hair being compared to the wings of the hawks, and then their clothes which are stained with blood being compared with the Sandhya Megha, is the evening reddish clouds are like their clothing of the directions being compared to the blood-stained clothes for women in a period. So that is the comparison. And therefore, they became of such a state that they were not fit to be looked at. And in the end, he gives ekatra drishti doshat, because all this dust and everything, you can spoil your eyes looking at them. And paratra shastra doshat is you're not supposed to look at a woman in a period. So that is why either way, that's the drishtanta, that's the comparison being given between the direction which are not fit to look at and women in the period not good to look at. So that is the comparison. Homework for next time, please. Okay, let me see where this tathoktaha. We'll do this next time. Tathoktaha is a Bahuvari compound, adjective to something else in the compound. So this Shena Paksha Paridhusaralakaha qualifying Dishaha. It says Tathoktaha. It says Tathoktaha. Samikaha, you will have an adjectival form. It's a Bahuvri form qualifying something else, another noun in there. Then Sanjya Meghaha. Sanjya coming from the Sandhya. Sandhya. So it becomes Sanjya Meghaha. So that is if you can look at the sutram, first of all, there are a lot of the alakaha is churna kuntalaha. There are lots of face. We will look at Apti dictionary. We will look at Apti dictionary for next time. For shena, look at paridhusara, look at alaka, look at the maybe sanja also may be given to you. The sanja meghaha is the Sandhya Meghaha, Sayankali Kalikaha Meghaha. So it says Sandhyayam Bhavaha, which occur in the evening. Sandhyayam Bhavaha. So Tatra Bhava Sutram. Tatra Bhavaha, we'll discuss next time. Tatra Bhavaha. Pratyaya An is if you want to derive it on your own, you can try for homework. Tatra Bhavaha. 5343. Take the word Sandhya and add the Pratyaya An and form the word Sandhya. Very simple, same thing. You have to do the Adi Vriddhi, and if we do it today, do the Yachibham and Yasyiticha, so that we can do next time. Any other homework for us? Babhuvoho. Babhuvoho. This sutram is you can try to derive on your own also next time. That requires two special rules. Babhuvoho. One is Bhavate Raha. This comes in 7.4 Bhavate Raha. 7.4 with all the Abhyasa Karyam is there. Dhatu is Bhu. Using our usual Abhyasa rules, you'll only get Bhu. You want Ba. So Bhavate Raha. Try to use Bhavate Raha, which is coming here. You use 7.4.73 to get the form Babhu. Use 7.4.73, and also if you can do some practice, it also needs Bhuvo Vuk. Bhuvo Vuk. Bhuvo Vuk. Lung Litoho. So Bhuvo Vuk, Bhuvo Vuk, Bhuvo Vuk, Bhuvo Vuk, Bhuvo Vuk. 6.4.88. Use 6.4.88 along with 7.4.73. 6.4.88, 7.4.73. Try on your own if you can derive this form Babhuvuhu on your own. Try to derive that. Then look at the sutra which Mulinasa has given. Jajaha, Krishi, Asuti, Parishadaha, Valach. 521112. Try to derive from Ritaswala on your own. The problem you're going to have is this is next special prize for next time. You get a special prize for next time. If you can tell me how that Sakar did not become a Ru Adeshaha. You know, we talked about today when you have Swadi Pratyaya, which is as a default the Angam gets the Padasanya by 1.4.17. Swadishvatranamastane, Swadishvatranamastane. In that case, Sasajusho Ru would have come. So look at the sutram under 1.4.18. Can you find a sutram where that Sakara will be protected and will not get a Ru, will become a Bhasanya back? Okay? So that's all for next time. We'll continue next time.
Satish ji.
Yes. Awesome.
Satish ji. Regarding no getting the Pragraha Sanya. Pragraha Sanya. Why not Nipata Ekajanang itself? Why both there?
Okay, so the quick question. It's a good question. Nipata Ekachanang. Let's look at that quickly. And look at the Vyakhyanam. You can always look at the Vyakhyanam Vastu, okay? Lesson for us. If you find a sutram which is not applying, which you think should have applied, in that case, look at the Vyakhyanam and see and go through every single word carefully and see what is not applying. Something is not being fulfilled. Or maybe some apavada, maybe something else, some other word came. Look at the Vyakhyanam, Nipata Ekachana. At face value, for Nipata, which has Ekach and not the Nipata Ang, Anang, Pragrya Sanya. Looks like no qualifies. It has only one Ach. Oh, Nipata it already has, as we talked to Rashmi about that. Oh. So now, why not use the Sutta Nipata Ekachana? Look at the Vyakhyanam. And the Vyakhyanam will say that in this case, Ekach, it has the entire Nipata has to be one Ach. Like a Nipata like E or U, like that. Not a Nipata which has one Ach. So the entire Nipata should be Ekach. So it should be only one single letter Nipata. Single letter. Look at the Ekascha Asau Acha. It is single. And that single letter is an Ach. So nipata, which is a single letter nipataha, a single vowel nipataha. Nipata is single letter, which is a vowel. Now no will not qualify because it's nakara okaraha. So so it is. So that is what it says. E, U, these qualify. So Vasu, the thing is that ekash in that sutram is that ekascha asau acha. It is single and it has only one ach. If you have more than one al letter in the nipata, it doesn't qualify for ekacha, nipata ekachana.
But both then it should mean only okara, not the no, right?
Let's look at the Vyakyan for oath now. Oath says odantaha nipataha. Odantaha nipataha. The ekash is not coming down from there now. Eka anuviti is not coming down. Only oath nipata pragriyam only. That anuviti of eka doesn't come into 1115. So the eka is only for 1114. So any nipata which is ekach, only a single letter ach, or a nipata ending in o, it may have more than one letter. Both of these get pragriya sanya. So word like no and aho, they come by 1115 by oath, because they are more than one letter. They cannot qualify for 1114. But a word like e, u, they are coming 1114. They're only one single ach nipata. Is okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Ramo Rajamanistada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramenabhiyata Nishacharakshamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Paranam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittale Sada Bhautame Bho Ramama Muttara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattilyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Onnam Iti. Was the recording message okay?